Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. In the past week or so, I was claiming that Ukrainian front is collapsing, and I provided what I think are evidence to support that claim. Evidence provided by the Ukrainian media outlets, not by the Russian. So now I think this is the last nail in the coffin of Ukraine, where we have the fight between Zaluzhny and Zelensky. In the past few, as I said, a week or so, I was making this kind of videos. Look at the first one, which was October 29th. Ukraine front collapsing. Ukraine announces mandatory evacuation. Ukraine collapses. Sign of Ukrainian retreat. Evacuate civilians in Donetsk. October 24th. And it is October 4th when I said it's clear the Ukraine coalition is collapsing. The West is running away. Now, let me show you the article that I'm going to base this last nail in the coffin allegation on. Here it is. Ukrainska Pravda. I have two articles actually, one from the Ukrainians and the other one from the Russians. This is from today, Monday the 30th, 2023 of October. Ukrainian president's office prepares to change military leadership due to slow progress in counteroffensive. Time magazine. Now, or whatever time is. Here, don't get fooled by euphemisms. Prepares to change military leadership. And the Ukrainian president's office, no, it's Zelensky supposedly, no? President's office, yes, okay. Due to slow progress, failure, and the Russians, remember? And the Russians coming over, Ukraine collapses, front collapses. So it's not slow progress. This slow progress was in the past, what? It was, I think, June, July, right? August, September, 4 months at least. There's no slow progress. That's dead. It was dead from the very beginning. Do you remember me saying it's dead? In the water, floating downstream, face down, floating downstream. That's exactly what's going on with the Ukrainian counteroffensive. But hey, let's read this little article and then I'm going to show you the Ukrainians' take on this. Two things are here. One, either Zaluzhny, the head, the chief of the Ukrainian army, supposedly, will just get rid of Zelensky. And that's something I've been saying for more than a year. I think I said this something in July last year or so, when I said it's going to be a civil war here, it's going to be a real insurrection, not the one that is our January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. That was not an insurrection. My assessment, that was, how do you call it, a demonstration gone wild and tried to be directed to a certain direction. Why? For the obvious political reasons. It was not armed insurrection. They were not over there to change the government. Okay, if they want to change the government, they wouldn't have gone over there. But nevertheless, and if Trump wanted really to do something, he would have done something else. But anyway, let's put this aside. This is going to be a real insurrection in Ukraine. When Zaluzhny and probably his other generals will say, no, you can't change me. I can change you. And then Al Capone will intervene and will have to make a choice between the Zelensky Stein or the Ukrainian. Which one is going to be? Which one follows orders? Remember, one supposedly has the army, and the other one has the guys around him who keep him alive from being by the army. Possibly. So let's leave this. So it's going to be either an insurrection, or which I think Zaluzhny is going to win, or Zelensky is going to be out. These guys are going to say, Zelensky, you got to go. Your time is out. Or who knows, maybe Zaluzhny wasn't in control of the military after all, and there were others, but I don't think it's the case though. So let's read this article. Well, upset much? The American magazine Time, citing aides close to Zelensky, claims that Ukrainian authorities are authorities. Who do you think makes a decision over there? Zelensky. It is a martial law in Ukraine. Who's the boss? The president. So it's not the Ukrainian authorities, it's Zelensky, which we know is Al Capone, are preparing to dismiss a minister and the general in charge of the counter offensive. This is per these guys, all right? According to the article, where is it? Zelensky does not agree with freezing the war due to the onset of cold weather until spring. Freezing the war to me means losing it, the president says. Well, you have to know that it is like on a job. If you fail at the job, you get fired. Zelensky failed and is not fired, and he's telling us, everybody else looking at the failure, that I should not be. You're the bad guys. You're the best. The bad. I don't know. Assessors, people who assess the situation. Anyway, so this is a minister and a general. But let's go to the Russians. Maybe they have some other view on this. Sputnik. The same today, 45 minutes ago. Tensions rising between Zelensky and top brass over Ukraine counteroffensive. Say what? Well, if it's not you, it's going to be someone else. I hope an Ukrainian, but we'll see. I hope the person who's going to win this little fight. Remember, this weasel got rid of one competitor that was Valery Klitschko, not Vitaly Klitschko. So he got rid of Vitaly Klitschko. You don't hear anything about Vitaly Klitschko since that little thing with how they call them when it was the last one of the latest attacks on Kiev, and they said that the doors for the wherever these guys were supposed to go in case of bombardment shelters were closed. Remember what he said? He claimed that this guy is one of the enemies. That means, and who has the army? Supposedly. This guy, not Klitschko. So Klitschko was out. He's kept over there by the Germans and others, but not by the Americans. He is Al Capone's guy. So he got rid of that guy. Now he's trying to get rid of Zaluzhny. We'll find out who's who and what's what. This guy, I don't know. It's either turning full dictator. But remember, you can't go full retard, full dictator unless you have the military. You have to have the military, you have to have the intelligence, you have to have the mass media. Without all these three things, you don't have anything. You need at least these three things. The politicians, you got the military, you clear the politicians. The media, you got the military, you got the media in your hand. The intelligence and the military, like the United States of America. You got the Pentagon and you got the what? CIA, FBI, and you got the NSA. Oh. You got these things, they will take care of everybody, just a phone call. And everybody sits down and shuts the fuck up. Or says whatever they're supposed to say. This is what is here. You don't think so? Okay, you'll see. Because they will show their face even more than they did under Trump's rule. Click rule. He was not in charge of anything. Not even of his life. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Valery Zaluzhny, and President Volodymyr Zelensky are at odds over the Ukrainian counteroffensive. The British press claims. What's behind the row? Yeah, you tell us, Sputnik. Valery Zaluzhny believes that the Ukrainian counteroffensive should be wrapped up and argues that the army needs to prepare for a new operation next year. So what these guys are saying here in this article, according to Zelensky, who doesn't agree to freeze the war, it's between Zaluzhny and Zelensky, but they don't did you see Zaluzhny here? I don't see Zaluzhny's name named here. It's only Zelensky and the general. All right. So we have here the Russians claiming that, hey, wait a minute, it's about Zaluzhny, who believes that the counteroffensive should be wrapped up and argues that the army needs to be prepared for a new operation next year. So he's the one with freezing the failed counteroffensive. For his part, Zelensky insists on the necessity to proceed with a military campaign, according to the British media. In September, the Ukrainian president vowed to carry out a counteroffensive in autumn and through winter, while speaking to the US press after a day of meeting on Capitol Hill and the White House. Zelensky claimed that Kiev made a mistake by taking a pause last year after making some territorial gains and pledged to take 2 or 3 cities in the near future. No, the front is collapsing, and that's your media saying that. If you... how do you call that? I always forget this word. Evacuate. Good job, Emil. Give me the... Oh my God, I remember the word evacuate. I have a problem. Something doesn't make connection in my head about evacuation. So now I got it. Thank you very much. So with those evacuations in Kharkiv, in Bakhmut area, in Zaporozhia Oblast, and in Kherson, that tells you that if you evacuate civilian population, that means, my boy, you are just going to retreat, or try whatever euphemisms you want. So here it is. They're not only the counteroffensive is a failure, but also I think the Russians are going to break the front, north, middle, and south of the front, if you want. So let's go and read this statement here. Zelensky has no military experience. He sets political goals. Volodymyr Oleynik, a Ukrainian politician and former MP of the Verkhovna Rada, Ukrainian parliament, told Sputnik, and I'm quoting, "The priority for him, for example, is an offensive at all costs, not sparing the soldiers, but getting results in the form of the liberation of cities. The West accepts him, praises him. In addition, military results bring money, and for Zaluzhny, it is very important to preserve the army, the Ukrainian army, mind you, and the other one, the whatever." So if you remember, maybe, if you're familiar with that guy in 1940s, in the war, at the end of the war, remember what order he gave Field Marshal Paulus at Stalingrad? What did Paulus do? We're just going to be done here. Why? Because Adolf said, no, you will die over there. But the soldier said, no, I'm not going to kill these guys in vain. Sounds familiar? If you want, you can use Adolf's in the fight of Berlin, and not only. Go all the way. And the generals said, it's useless. Remember, if you watched as a clear exemplification of this, watch that movie, The Downfall, or it is the last part of The Downfall. It's a German movie with what happens in the bunker in Berlin in the last few days in the bunker, and as that famous little thing when Adolf sends everybody out, and there remain 4 generals, and Bormann and what's his name, Goebbels. He sends everybody out, but Goebbels and Bormann remain, and close the door, and he has that little breakdown over there. Why? Because he said that Steiner, where is Steiner? Steiner was supposed to come, supposedly, and break the Russian encirclement. But Steiner, remember, das war ein Befehl! I watched that many times. That was an order, das war ein Befehl! Yeah, that was an order. Nobody listens to me anymore. Why? Because he thought that Steiner were gonna break in, and Steiner told the generals, I can't do it, I don't have the power. But Hitler wanted, just go in. And the guy said, I'm not gonna sacrifice these guys, it's useless. So that's why he got, okay, the Krieg is lost, the war is lost, so do whatever you want. I can't lead like this. Okay, well, whatever. So it was the same thing here. I'm not saying that Zelensky is that guy. I'm just saying it sounds to me like it's the same kind of mentality. And Adolf was a military guy. He got the Iron Cross and all that, so he was not a Zelensky, whatever. So he fought in the First World War. He was awarded 2 Iron Crosses, if I remember correctly, and so on. Not to praise the guy, but I'm just saying that he was a military guy. He was not a genius, but he beat France in 3 weeks or something. So in a certain way, under his command, even though they say it was the generals, it was whatever. Let's go back to these guys. So you see, Zaluzhny is about his military, Zelensky is about the other thing. But he's a politician, as this guy points out. So here is Zaluzhny, who's still alive. Remember, they said he's dead. So per Olein, tensions have been brewing between Zaluzhny and Zelensky for quite a while. I covered that many times. Not many times, whenever they flared out in the open. Zaluzhny sees that Ukrainian army lacks air superiority, manpower and equipment, basically everything, and he is forced to advance nonetheless, the politician explained. And I'm quoting, Ukraine has no means for an offensive, neither technical nor human. There is no advantage in the air, and so on. And Zaluzhny now professes the concept of defense That is, we need to, following the examples of Russia, dig in and remain on the defensive, not to carry out any offensives because it would lead to a defeat. But Zelensky, so that was Zaluzhny, but Zelensky insists on continuing the offensive. Why? It is clear that this is about the money that the Western countries will or will not allocate. If there is an offensive, there will be money. If there is no offensive, there will be no money. That's part of it. I think I would like to assign or ascribe Zaluzhny some patriotism in that. Just as the preference, let me tell you this. This is a personal note. Since this thing occurred in Ukraine, I watched Zaluzhny and I read all his statements that were published, because I'm reading these articles and these media outlets daily, a few times a day. I go over them. So I've never heard Zaluzhny saying anything stupid. Maybe he did. I didn't hear him. I never heard him saying anything out of reality or realm of reality, or saying that, yeah, we're gonna do this. He was a professional. Now, I don't know how much millions he might have now, or how many blah blah blah. I don't know. He behaved, from what I saw and heard him say and others, like a, I don't know, military. That's my job. I'm going to defend that. But so I don't have personally nothing against the guy. All right. On the other hand, Zelensky is garbage. That's for me. Because he knowingly does certain things that will hurt the Ukrainian nation, and is not defending it as he pretends to. No, I think he just gets Ukraine to destruction and more destruction and more destruction. Whereas Zaluzhny might intervene and smack this guy over his nose and send him back to, I don't know, probably London, Tel Aviv, or New York. One of these three places. You'll see. If those guys protecting Zelensky don't pick him up, and you'll see. So Americans view the Ukraine conflict as a proxy war. Whatever, my friends. Kirby, this is other things that they make a little bit of propaganda themselves as well. Why not? While we are at it. So we have here, again, I think this is the latest. No, it is the latest, but something must clear up here. It's either Zelensky wins, which is Zaluzhny or someone else gets out. When I say Zelensky wins, that means Al Capone. Now, if United States, I don't know how independent Zaluzhny is with his army. If Zaluzhny really is in charge of the Ukrainian army, I think Zelensky is screwed, 100%. And the Americans will do what Zaluzhny says. Why? If he's in charge of the military, of the entire military, as I said before, there might be factions. They will break, and then you're going to have a civil war. The Russians will pull off and wait until those guys, and then they come and take over. If Zaluzhny is independent, if Zaluzhny is together with Zelensky on Al Capone's paycheck and payroll, then we'll see. They will find some. It depends how tough Zaluzhny is, because remember, he's got the guns. Zelensky has nothing, not even balls. So Zaluzhny is the guy. So if this guy is Zelensky wants to get rid of Zaluzhny, and Zaluzhny doesn't want to get lost, then Zelensky can't do shit. Americans can tell Zaluzhny, hey, you gotta go. Zaluzhny is gonna say, make me, unless he got people behind him to take care of him from behind, which often happen. Or again, they will just get rid of Zelensky and say, Zelensky, you got to go, leave someone else, or slow down, take it easy. We'll see if Zelensky listens. Because it seems to me like Zelensky is very much a tyrant. By his decisions that he made in Ukraine, without the US's involvement, remember, with political, with mass media, with religion, with minorities' rights and so on. He's not a Democrat. This guy is just a piece of whatever. So we'll find out. Now, we'll find out if really Zaluzhny is independent. He will not be removed. I mean, if he gets removed, I want to see what's happening to Zaluzhny after he's removed. If he's removed peacefully, I'm talking about. I don't know. Or maybe these guys are not even talking about Zaluzhny and they will just say, oh, okay, we just have a little bit of our argument. But again, if Zaluzhny is in charge, I don't see him just saying, okay, I'm leaving, let someone else do it. But maybe he's one of, I don't know, on the same payroll as Zelensky. Therefore, he's going to say, whatever you say, guys, give me now my millions and I'm out. Thank you very much for being with me again today. But something big will happen, as I said, in Ukraine soon. Soon. I said 2 weeks, about a few days ago. Might be the Russians break the front. Maybe right now is desperation. People try to pack up and take their planes, their helicopters, and go to friendly countries and friendly governments that pay them and give them protection. We'll find out soon. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.